A funny thing happens on the way to enlightenment. You begin to see with the spiritual eyes of your soul instead of your physical eyes. And once you do that, some very interesting things appear. In this spiritual lesson, we are discussing spiritual bypassing, or how many people become very smart rats and know exactly how to find their cheese, but not consciously so, instinctually so. Spiritual bypassing is the process where you have all the answers, but your life still doesn't work. And the purpose and intention of spiritual practice is to manifest, materialize, and create happiness, fulfillment, and satisfaction in your life. Hi, I'm T.S. Hall, the Stoic Medium, and I train old souls, empaths, and highly sensitive people in the psychic and the healing arts, so they rediscover spirit to find the answers and solutions to life's problems that they are seeking. If you're new here, welcome. We're glad you found us, yet not at all surprised. Consider joining our YouTube community of like minds and kindred spirits by subscribing to this channel. You'll find a button or a link below me. Welcome to the community. I must admit, I'm new to this concept of spiritual bypassing. But when I heard about it, when I found out what it was, it made perfect sense to me. I've seen it done countless times by many people in their spiritual growth and development. You see, as human beings, as animals, we're smart rats. We know how to fit in to a community. We know how to find and say the right answers. We learn how to do what's required to survive and to thrive within whatever ecosystem we find ourselves in. But the problem is, too many times, it comes at a cost. And that cost is our emotional health, our emotional well-being, our psychological fitness, if you will. Because we do what we have to survive, but we ignore what we want to do this lifetime, what we incarnated to bring about. Spiritual bypassing simply bypasses the self-awareness process that is found within the spiritual growth and development practices. The best way I can explain spiritual bypassing is to look at some other areas and consider nutritional bypassing, or fitness bypassing, or financial bypassing, or relationship bypassing. Chances are you are pretty darn good at one of those areas: your nutrition, your fitness, your finances, or your relationships. The areas that you are good in is because you have done the work. You have learned the distinctions. You have mastered the skills in that area. The same goes for spirituality and spiritual growth and development. Something happens when you do the work. You master whatever stands between you and getting the results in the three-dimensional real world that you want. For nutrition, you have a healthy vibrance. You understand what your body needs nutritionally to survive. With fitness, you have demonstrable skills in your yoga or your tennis or your weightlifting or your running practice. In the domain of finances, you've got money and assets or you don't. And relationships, your relationships work or they don't. It's pretty clear and apparent. The same is true in the area of spirituality. While you start with a theoretical, speculative understanding, and that understanding either feels right to you, and you're drawn into a community, or you're drawn into a philosophy, or it doesn't. The key is whether or not you're willing to do the work to get the results. And for most people I've seen in the realm of spirituality, they really like the idea of spirituality. But unfortunately, they approach spirituality the way most approach religion. For many religious people, they think simply going to church on Sunday gets them the forgiveness from God and God's grace, and they can do whatever they want to when they're not in church. It has always struck me as hypocritical, but for many people, that's how they approach their religious and spiritual life. But to have a direct spiritual experience, to rediscover spirit, to really find the true essence of your spiritual self, to connect with your spirit guides and teachers, and to find that spirit and verve for life requires practice, not unlike the discipline of nutrition or fitness or finances or doing the work in a relationship. You got to do the work in spirituality as well. And that work is pretty simple. You got to meditate. If you're not meditating, you're not really allowing yourselves to transcend the physical experience and delve into connecting with your spirit self. At Spirit360 Fellowship, we recommend the following spiritual practices. The work, if you will. The first part is stillness meditation, allowing yourself to quiet your mind on command so you can reach that eye of the storm. You can find the threshold between your body and your spirit, where you can see things as they really are. Once you get there, then we recommend you extend that experience by developing your psychic and your healing abilities. But we recommend you do that in displayable, verifiable ways. First to yourself and then to others. After you've developed some psychic and healing skills, then you go into a integrative part where you start to bring about your new level of sensitivity and awareness and express it and demonstrate it in your life. You know, if I'm going to be fit, you can measure that by your body weight and body fat. To be healthy, you can check your blood pressure. You can get blood samples. If you're going to be financially fit, you can look at your assets and your bank account balance. The point of spiritual growth and development is to have you find answers and solutions that come from more the intuitive side of your knowing rather than the instinctual side of your survival. We call this opening the spiritual eyes of your soul. Once open, you start to see things completely differently. You start to find a sense of fulfillment, a sense of satisfaction, a sense of happiness, regardless your outer circumstances. You allow yourself to authentically be you as appropriate. You bring a level of awareness, a calmness, a knowingness to every moment of every day. You always know exactly what your next step will be and where it will take you. You are never surprised. And I think for most people, that's the downside of spiritual awareness. You got to give up drama. And too many people are addicted to the dramas of life. If you're willing to give up drama and do the work, you can get spiritual results. In the process, you work through many of the things that spiritual bypassing points out. You find answers, you find solutions to life's problems that are sustainable, that allow you then to start to transform the other areas of your life. You can become more healthy, more lean, more fit, more financially wealthy. Your relationships become partnerships and places of unconditional love. Is it worth it? I think so, but only you can decide that. To avoid spiritual bypassing, you simply do the work, the meditation, the psychic and the healing abilities development. I think you will love the person you find as you begin to master these simple practices to develop real-world displayable, on-command skills in every circumstance, every part of your life. In the comments, share with me areas you've seen others, or maybe even yourself, bypass doing the work to have the answers, where people are smart rats. If you found this video useful, beneficial, give us a thumbs up. It lets Google know, it lets us know, but more importantly, it lets other old souls, empaths, and highly sensitive people know that you found it beneficial, so they can see for themselves whether or not spiritualism is the right path for them for the next steps along their spiritual growth and development pathway. If something about this video rings true, if it feels right, join our community. Subscribe to this channel so we can stay connected as we walk parallel paths towards individual spiritual perfection. And as we wrap up, I remind you of this one simple koan. Spiritual is as spiritual does.